Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Jay Anthony, and here we go with another cool watch. So this is a very, very distinct Omega. Something that you don't see every day, and the reason is it's actually good to 4,000 feet. It's a super cool piece. Without even getting into too much, let me just do my quick wristwatch check and let's just jump into the video. So today I'm wearing a dive watch as well, my trusty Panerai Radiomir, but this thing is nowhere near as capable as the Omega we're about to check out. So let's just go ahead and dive into this guy. As always, I try to bring you guys something that's kind of special and unique, and today's going to be no exception. So this is one of the most interesting Omegas probably ever made. If you're familiar with it, you probably already love it or hate it. If you're new to it, you're probably thinking this is a pretty alien looking watch. I love this thing, and once again, thanks to my friends at Bernard, I get to play around with one. So what is this crazy looking thing? Well, this is, you know, sort of a, I guess you could say, a competitor to a Rolex Seadwell or Deep Sea, but it's actually much older than that in terms of its lineage, and it's a very unique beast in its own right. This is what they lovingly call the Omega Ploprof. And the reason it's called Ploprof is it's kind of a take on the two words for pro diver in French. And this watch traces its original lineage back to about 1970 when its great ancestor took to diving. And nowadays we have the current iteration. And as you can see, this thing is a monster. So I'm sure some of you guys are already asking yourself, why is this thing shaped in such a crazy way? And it really comes down to this watch's purpose. This is made to take quite a beating underwater, and it's good to quite a depth. That depth being 1,200 meters or roughly 4,000 feet. And hence that's why you have this absolutely enormous case, which is built to withstand those kind of depths and pressures. So a lot of watches these days all roughly look the same, but you could definitely never accuse this Omega of looking like anything else. This thing is just insane. Speaking of insane, the dimensions are clearly nuts. This thing is roughly 55 by 48 millimeters. If you're looking for wrist presence, look no further. This thing is absolutely incredible. You know, and because of its depth rating, it comes with some pretty special features. There is a built-in helium escape valve in case you happen to be one of those privileged few that is working with diving bells. It also comes with an incredible crown guard protection system, something kind of similar to what you'd see on a Panerai Luminor, but definitely very bespoke. And I'm sure what most of you guys are probably curious about is what this orange thing over here does. Now, this was never a Bond watch, but it would have made a great one, given that you basically have a button right on it. This thing does not activate any sort of crazy spy equipment. Actually, what it does is it releases the bezel. So most modern dive watches today are unidirectional, aka they can only be turned one direction, and they're typically set up in such a fashion that you can only add time. And they're typically used in such that you set the triangle to the current minute hand, and it will keep track of your elapsed time. So if you're keeping track of your time underwater and other such important things, they're really good at doing that in a very simple way. And they do this unidirectionally typically so that you cannot accidentally remove time and end up staying underwater, for example, too long. Well, in this case, you actually have a unique system in that it is actually bidirectional, so the bezel will turn both ways. But so you don't accidentally screw up the time, it's locked. And you actually have to press down this orange trigger over here to release it. And so if you try to move it on your own, it's not going to do anything, but when you actually depress the trigger, as such, now you can actually turn it either direction. And then when you release it, it's locked, it's secure, and it's not going anywhere. So were you to actually use this as a diving instrument, it is truly capable, and there is definitely a security in this bezel that I can't think of any other dime watch that's going to come close to having something similar to this, but maybe you guys know of one that I'm forgetting. As a desk diver, it's pretty cool just to play around with this thing too. So if you just wore this to work, not only would people obviously be staring at your wrist, because this thing definitely does not blend in, but it's definitely a cool little conversation piece to explain how your bezel locks and has this triggering mechanism on it. As you can assume, it is roughly 120 clicks, as are most dive watches, and it does turn, you know, very well. It's a very well-made watch, as are all modern Omegas. And again, just release the trigger. This being a current Omega, the bezel is actually going to be made out of their ceramic. And so it does have a nice kind of sheen to it that older ones would not have had. And just to give you a really bad contrast, just to compare it, Here's a very old Omega of mine, my old Seamaster, with an older style bezel, and as you can see, it is a dinky little thing in comparison to the Ploprof. It is really no comparison. So if you're used to a standard 40-41 mil dive watch, the Ploprof is in a whole nother league. So, you know, beyond that, it is, you know, a reasonably normal dive watch beyond its crazy case construction. As you can see, it is a, you know, a very nice classic style dial. It actually looks very similar to the 1970 model. You know, it is part of the Omega Seamaster Professional line. This does feature their coaxial in-house movement. Depending on the iteration of this model, I believe they actually come with a couple of different versions. This iteration is going to use the 8500 in-house caliber. It's going to give you about 60 hours of power reserve. It's going to give you, of course, the coaxial system, which was created by Daniels. My friends in the UK, I'm sure, are very familiar with Daniels and his contributions to horology. It comes equipped with 39 joules, a silicone hairspring, so it's got very good anti-magnetic properties. And as I've shown in previous videos of some of the modern Omega calibers, it is a beautiful thing to look at. Unfortunately, this one does not, of course, have a case through back where you can actually see it. You know, they do have some models, I believe, that do, but it is, of course, better water resistance when you don't. It does actually, though, of course, have the lovely Omega Seahorse relief on the back, and it is, you know, beautifully finished. It's actually a nice modern upgrade to the way they used to do these. Here's an older one, mine, as kind of a contrast as how these have grown over the years. Mine's about a 2000, 2001. As you can see, they have definitely improved upon their case backs over time. This watch is just crazy. I can't get over both how big it is and how impressive it is to kind of look at. It is super, super cool. And it looks like a professional diving instrument, which it clearly is. And yeah, of course, the question is going to be is, do I want one? And yeah, I do. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this thing sets. We'll go ahead and unscrew the crown here. And as you can see, it is a really, really cool system. So when you unscrew it all the way, you can actually see that it comes away from the case, which is, again, unlike anything else that I've ever seen. And you can independently set the hour hand, which is a feature on modern Omegas, which I absolutely love and think it should be an industry standard at this point. It is so convenient. And of course, you can pull it out again and it will hack. And then we can, of course, go ahead and set the time as well. Such a cool system. This case, the way they did the crown, you know, they could have easily, you know, done a more conventional crown, but this is super cool how part of the case actually comes out when you unscrew the crown. I mean, it is such a cool, unique feature that I've never really seen before and absolutely love it. We'll go ahead and push this back in. So as always, you guys do, of course, want to screw this thing back down if you plan on going near water. One of the things I hear about all the time is people buy these waterproof watches and they forget that if you, for whatever reason, don't close the crown, you're going to end up getting water inside your case. I don't understand why people would ever leave the crown unscrewed in the first place, but the reason this is a screw down crown is for water tightness. So definitely want to make sure that's secure before you guys go back in the water. This one also comes equipped on this really rugged looking Milanese style bracelet, which is really cool. They do also come with a nice little silicone set of rubber straps, so you can definitely make this watch yours and personalize it, which is always fun. The bracelet is, you know, wonderful, and it comes on current generation Omega clasp, which is beautiful. Has, of course, the Seamaster relief, has a very solid feel to it, and it actually has a quick adjustment, which you can press on here, and you can extend the bracelet to fit over your wetsuit. It also has a diver's extension. So there's a quick adjustment over here, and there's also a diver's extension, which is very useful again. So overall, a very unique piece, a very special piece, and another watch that I need to add to the list of ones that I need to buy at some point. But with all that said, guys, let's go ahead and do a quick little wristwatch check here, or a quick little wrist shot, and we'll call it a day. And since I always get comments about this, I will put it on my left wrist, even though I default to my right. And there you go. So I have about a 7-inch wrist, actually, or 6 3/4. And as you can see, it is definitely noticeable on the wrist, but it is surprisingly comfortable. You also get a little bit of that anti-magnetic coating on the sapphire, which is why you're getting a little bit of that reflection there, which is actually quite nice. So yeah, a really cool, unique, and interesting Omega. So well, that said, let's go ahead and jump back. So there you go, guys. What do you guys think? I know this could be kind of an acquired taste. It's very distinct, very unique, and very much a love it or hate it. The watch is huge. It weighs a lot. It's not your typical dive watch. I love it. I get people hate it, and I can totally see why as well. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section below. As always, thank you so much. Also, feel free to let me know where you guys are from. Super cool we get to be part of this global community. I love hearing from you guys across the world. Also, as I mentioned before, my friend Giancarlo has a great community on Facebook and Instagram called The Daily Wristwatch Check. Links to that are below as well. Giancarlo's an awesome guy. His group is awesome. I'm happy to be a part of it. It's a great way for you to get out there and share your wristwatch shots. So, well, that said, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Stay tuned in because new videos are going to be coming out, of course, as always. If you haven't already, please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. And I'll see you guys real soon on the next video. Thanks for tuning in. See you real soon.